I'm Bishop Gregory Parks. Welcome back to Take 5, a weekly conversation on faith and on our life. Very blessed today to be joined by Marissa Guarino. Marissa serves as the Chief Operating Officer for PMA, which stands for Practice Management of America. And the Diocese of St. Petersburg has a relationship with PMA because one of the great things that you all do is to help us to care for our elderly priests. You know, they've given so much of their life to ministry and to serving others, and we just want to make sure that they're not only holy but healthy as they progress through life and that they're safe. Welcome to Take 5, Marissa.
Thank you, Bishop. It's an honor to be here, but more importantly, it's such a blessing and an honor for the last 3 years to have been able to be that support for our clergy, for our priest. In particular, we know that many of the clergy family could be far, and certainly we know that clergy, our priests, don't have significant others. So we've been able to be the support for our priest, going to doctor's visits with them, making sure that there's somebody else to hear and be an advocate for when they're in need of finding a doctor, scheduling appointments. And then one of the particular areas that I'm most passionate about is our elderly priests. I have a passion for the elderly, and part of our ministry with PMA and helping our priest is with our elderly priest and making sure that their home is safe. I have nurses that go into the home, check for home safety, to the extent that if we have to have chair rails placed or modifications made to the home for them to be able to remain in their home, we do whatever it takes.
Yeah, and that's a very good point, because my experience as bishop is that many of our priests want to continue to live in their home for as long as possible, and that's certainly understandable. Even though we do have a beautiful new residence for our retired priests here in St. Petersburg called the St. John the 23rd Residence, which we just opened, other priests want to continue living on their own. Sometimes they'll be in a rectory where there are other priests living there as well, but very often they live on their own, and we want to make sure they're safe. What are some specific ways that we do that? I know we have something called a life phone. What is that?
We have we had seen a need for a life phone to be implemented for more of a medical alert bracelet and or necklace for those that may have a risk for falling. There has been instances where there has been a priest that maybe had fallen, and it could be hours. And so this allows for us to be alerted if a priest has fallen or there's lack of movement for a period of time. I have a wonderful team of registered nurses that are a part of this ministry with PMA that are alerted when there is a concern, and we're able to quickly call or get into the home to make sure that the priests are safe. So that's been a tremendous help. We also have a food, mom's meals. So we try and help when priests are discharged from the hospital, and there may be a particular meal that needs to be cooked that they may necessarily not have the experience in doing so. So we'll coordinate that as well.
That's great to hear, and I'm sure the priests appreciate that very much. Just listening to all those things, I think maybe I could use some help as bishop right now before I get to retirement age. I have personally witnessed how much you care for and love our elderly priests. Where does that come from? Is there something in your background, or just as you've grown in faith, you just wanted to reach out and make sure that our priests are taken care of?
Oh my goodness. I think, God just gave me this beautiful grace to be there for our elderly. I think it was with my grandfather. Growing up, he was sick early on as a child, and it was a natural instinct for me to want to be there to help during his care. And from that point forward, it was just a desire for me to help those elderly in times of when they need a comforting presence, and maybe there's not so many folks around that could be there.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Marissa. And again, I know our priests speak so highly of you and your staff that you work with and that minister to us. So thank you for helping us to care for our priests. And I do ask the God's continued blessing upon you and upon your ministry. That's going to do it this week for Take 5. We'll see you next time, and may God bless you.